Today I thought I would go through all my books, just kind of to get a record of the books I have, and also I thought they could use a little shuffling, a little organization before I move out in the summer. Went to the lake today, relaxed. I'm about to finish The Catcher in the Rye. Probably finish that after this video. It's been nice weather, real nice weather. So let's start with some of the smaller piles. First, I wanted to go through the books I've read. I like to keep these all together just to chronicle all the books I've read. I'm not gonna go over the books I read in this last month because I made a video about them, but these are all the books I've read, except for Brave New World, which I listened to the audiobook last summer. All of these are books I've read in February, I guess. So I read The Pearl, enjoyed that. Tagana by Guy Gavriel Kay. I read No Country for Old Men, finished this in like 2 days. I really loved it. Stoner by John Williams. This one of my probably really close to my favorite book of all time. Just it so dear to my heart. Just a beautiful story. The Old Man and the Sea. Man's Search for Meaning. Mort by Terry Pratchett. And then The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde. Okay, first, let's look at the poetry I have. So I have Leaves of Grass by Walt Whitman. Final Harvest, a collection of Emily Dickinson poems. And The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. And then some Ben Jonson poems. Also, what I wanted to do with this video is collect a summer TBR. So as I go through stuff, I'll mention the things that I want to read over this summer, the next couple of months. The Prophet is probably gonna go on that list. And maybe I'll move those to the side. Let's see, I'm gonna go through another short pile. These are more nonfiction, so I have How to Win Friends and Influence People and Psycho-Cybernetics. I don't think either of these is gonna get read this summer. Okay, what's next? Here are some that I know are gonna be on my TBR for the summer. So, The Dispossessed by Ursula K. Le Guin. For philosophy, I want to read Descartes. I want to read the Meditations on First Philosophy, and what's the other one? It's in here. Discourse on Method and Meditations. I want to read those. I want to read Fyodor Dostoevsky. So I have The Brothers Karamazov, and I have Notes from Underground. I don't know where I'm gonna start. I'm not sure. I might make this a big summer read, and I might start with this, but they're both pretty high on my TBR. Another long book. I haven't been reading long books. I've been trying to get through a lot. There's just so much to read, so short books have been catching my attention, but I want to read David Copperfield. I got this nice copy. Also, East of Eden by John Steinbeck. So those are kind of some fiction. We'll have more, I usually have a nonfiction, not really nonfiction, but more philosophical. Something that really it's harder to read, and I'll need to use more of my brain power, that I'll read in the morning, and then I'll read more of a storybook, later in the day, because I don't need to feel smart to do that. But I'll split it up in like that philosophical / nonfiction section of my TBR, and then I'll make a more fantasy sci-fi section, and then a more realistic fiction section. Let's see, what else do we have? Let's go through philosophy-esque books. These are all over the place, but I have this collection by Don Miguel Ruiz. I read The Four Agreements last year, and I have two more, The Voice of Knowledge and The Master of Love. I feel like these could be nice summer books, but they're not on my list right now. I have a copy of the Quran, the Tao Te Ching. I definitely want to finish this over the summer. It's just nice. It's very short. Honestly, I might finish it before the year ends, so I will put that there. The Meaning of It All by Richard Feynman. Inferno by Dante. The Communist Manifesto. I have this copy, this Everyman's Library. Camus has The Plague, The Fall, Exile in the Kingdom. It's a nice copy. Probably put that in my TBR. I'd like to read a little more Camus. I have this Modern Library copy of The Philosophy of Jean-Paul Sartre. It has a lot of just basics of his writing. So I definitely would like to get into him, but I don't think that's gonna be on my TBR just yet. I think instead, I'm gonna put these two on my TBR. So plays, No Exit, a few other plays too, and then some literary and philosophical essays. Then I'm gonna start his work with these two. I have a copy of the Bhagavad Gita. I do want to read this. It's real short. All the books I put over here are going to be my TBR. And then if I just put them back where they came from, they're not going to my TBR. I also have Sartre's Situations, which I might read some from this too, but those other two copies are the main things I'm going to be reading over the summer. I have the Analects of Confucius and Hume's An Inquiry Concerning Human Understanding. I might have to read this for a class next semester, so I'll probably end up reading it over the summer. I was going to read it anyways, but that's going in the TBR. Halfway through my philosophy. I have Plato's Republic. I don't know why I held it like that. City of God. I think it's in an abridged version. Yeah, but that's fine because it's a long book. But I didn't want an abridged version of Copperfield because I feel like that would be more of a special story. Might be the same way for this. I try to stay away from abridged, but this might be one that might just be easier to get through that way. Then I have Bertrand Russell, The Basic Writings and History of Western Philosophy. I haven't really looked into Bertrand Russell much, so I don't know where to start. So if you have any recommendations, just let me know. But these are very daunting, so I'm not going to add them to my TBR just yet. But who knows? It'll be a long summer, so maybe not. Might be a short summer. The Prince by Machiavelli. Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. I do want to read this. It also doesn't run that long. Man, it's like 170 pages. I think I have to put this in my TBR. but it's not very high on my TBR right now. Letters to a Stoic and The Heart of the Buddha's Teachings. So those are all my philosophy. Next, let's go with the literature. I kind of organized these. I tried to do kind of eras, but I don't know a ton about these authors, so it was hard to organize them. Let's get all this Shakespeare out. They had a really good sale at the bookstore the other day, and a lot of these were about 25 cents a piece. So I got King Lear. So I got the Kittredge versions of King Lear and Hamlet. Let's see, where should I set them? I'll set them up here. Then I got the Pelican editions of Antony and Cleopatra and Macbeth. Those are pretty short. And then I got The Tempest and Julius Caesar from the Signet Classics. Love this art. And then I had this No Fear Hamlet, but I'll end up giving that away probably, or donated it or something. And then I have 8 Great Tragedies. I'd like to read some of these, especially Oedipus the King, maybe Prometheus Bound. I don't know. I haven't looked into much of that stuff, so any recommendations on all of that would be much appreciated. Don Quixote by Cervantes. I really want to read this. Another one that's just so long, and definitely going to put that in my TBR for the summer though. I have Candide by Voltaire. This is, definitely want to read it. I'm going to put it in my TBR. Okay. Then I have 2 copies of Beowulf. I'm going to put this smaller one in my TBR. Let's see. This big copy it's a bilingual edition, so it has the Anglo-Saxon in it too. It's kind of cool. I don't know if you can read it, but I thought I had to get it. It was only a couple bucks, and it's a nice thing to have. Do I already have a copy of it? So I have 3 copies of Hamlet. Here's another one. I'm gonna also put that in my duplicate section. Maybe a birthday gift for someone. Okay, we're getting through these books. Short stories of Mark Twain. I haven't read any Mark Twain, so definitely would like to get into this sometime. I don't know if it's on my list for the summer just yet. My list is gonna change so much over the coming months. It's so unpredictable what I'm gonna read. The Good Earth by Pearl S. Buck. Sherlock Holmes, The Hound of the Baskervilles. Little Women. The Return of the Native, Thomas Hardy. The Sun Also Rises by Hemingway. This is a beautiful copy I got, and it was $6. Has a bookmark in it, hardcover. Definitely have to read that. Camus' The Possessed. I think this is one of the last things published from him. I definitely do want to read this soon, but I'm gonna put it with my philosophy too. It is a play, but Camus, and I don't think it's gonna go on my TBR just yet. The Scarlet Letter by Hawthorne. I definitely want to read this. There's just too many books to read in not enough time. Great Expectations by Dickens. A Farewell to Arms by Hemingway. A Tale of Two Cities by Dickens. Tess of the D'Urbervilles by Thomas Hardy. Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Yeah, I knew that. I'm gonna put this on my TBR. I really like this copy. It's hardback, but it's like a mass market paperback size, so I really like it. And I want to read books that have movies because then I can compare. But every movie that's based off a book, I always want to read the book first, so that can motivate me sometimes. James Joyce Dubliners. I've been getting a lot of I got this the other day and a lot of people were saying to read it, so it's gonna go on my list. Probably gonna read it this month. Heart of Darkness by Conrad, also The Secret Sharer, and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. These are so short, I have to read them, so they're going on my TBR. Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, and another one of those hardcovers that's small, and I love it, so I think I'm gonna have to put it on my TBR. Kidnapped. My mom was reading this, so that makes me want to read it because I like to have people in my life that I can talk about stories with, so I try to read stuff that I know, people I know that have read it, if I said that right. So going to my TBR. Frankenstein, same situation, so I want to read it, also a classic. Gone with the Wind, big book, I don't think I'm gonna get to it just yet. To Kill a Mockingbird, fumbled, also don't think I'm gonna get to it just yet. Please give me recommendations because I don't know, like I'm just not very well versed in a lot of the books except for the ones I really want to read. It's hard to know much about a book before you've read it. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, also like not super high up on my list. Okay, now we're getting into more, I said this was more like fantasy stuff and more modern novels, so this is my last section of books. Assassin's Quest by Robin Hobb. I really want to read this. This is the third book, and I would love to get the same artwork of the first book, The Assassin's Apprentice, but it's really hard to find. I keep looking at thrift books, but can't find a copy. Once I do, I think this series is getting started like immediately. Really interested in it. But can't go on my TBR because it's the third book in the series. Jurassic Park. Foundry Side. Let's get the other one in the series. Where could it be? Right here? Nope. Maybe right here. Okay, so I have book 5 and book 6 of Narnia. The Horse and His Boy and the Silver Chair. I want to get the first book. I'm not sure where to start either. Some people say start with Magician's Nephew. Some people say Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. I've watched all the movies back when I was a kid, so I don't know. Definitely another series I want to start. If I had book 1, it would go on my TBR instantly, but I don't. So, the word for world is forest by Ursula K. Le Guin. In this beloved, award-winning masterpiece, today's most honored fantasy writer tells of the gentle people of a peaceful world and how they are invaded by the bloodthirsty humans and how they fight back and how they win. Winner of the Hugo Nebula Awards. It's a very short story, and I haven't been reading much fantasy, so I think I'll put that on my TBR. Dune, I would love to get into this. I'll put it on my TBR. This is going to be a really long TBR. The Name of the Wind by Rothfuss. I've heard it's beautiful to read, so I want to read it. Man, you see the stack? This. It's all my TBR. Oh no. I don't think I'm gonna read that many books this summer, but it's always good to be ambitious, I guess, have options. Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. I would love to read this series, but I don't know if I'm gonna get into it this summer. I don't know if I'm ready for that yet. Same with A Game of Thrones. As soon as, if the next book of the series ever comes out, I'm gonna be binging these books, or if it's ever rumored to be released, but I think I'll wait until then. I think I have enough to read right now. I would love to start that series. Pure and Essie, I borrowed this, so I'd like to get it back to them. So I would like to read it. It's going on my TBR just so I can return it to its rightful owner. I have book 2 and book 3 of the Foundation series. Also can't go on my TBR because it's not the first one. But I don't know if it would, even if I did have the first one. Okay, where do we go from here? Okay, another copy of The Dispossessed. That goes with my duplicate books. That'll be a gift for someone. The Giver. Would like to reread that, but not yet. Ender's Game. Guns, Germs, and Steel. This probably isn't the right section for that. I'm gonna put it over. Honestly, it could probably go with more of my philosophy stuff. The Grace of Kings. More Than This. Legends and Lattes. The Dragon Waiting. I have 2 copies of The Remains of the Day. And so one of these is I'm gonna put the nicer one in the duplicate because I'll keep the older one for myself. I don't mind. But this one might go in my TBR. Some people have recommended it. The Name of the Rose. I don't know. I think it's gonna go in my TBR. It's a longer book, but it sounds really interesting. I think it's gonna have some good tie-ins to philosophy and all of that, like logic, theology. It says Aristotle, Aquinas, Bacon. Sounds very interesting. I think I'll enjoy it. So I've read some of his essays. 2 more by Cormac McCarthy. All the Pretty Horses and The Road. I need to read this. I know quite a few people that have read it, and this is also a borrowed copy. So it's definitely going on my TBR. Let's give a rundown of what I have then. So for philosophy, we have all of these. I'm going to show you, to be honest. This isn't going to go well. It's hard to line them up. They're all different sizes. And then we have our fiction TBR. Man, TBRs are impossible because, you just keep getting books, keep getting good books, and there's never enough time to read them. Hard to hold all of these. I'm gonna drop them. It's a lot of books. Okay, that's all the books I have. All of them. Except for I have the Stormlight Archive series. There. I have the Red Rising series. There. And I'm on book 5, Dark Age, so I'm gonna read that over the summer. And then I'm also in the midst of reading the Dark Tower series by Stephen King. So that's also on my TBR, but I'm in the middle of book 2. So I need to finish it. I DNF'd it when I was sick a couple months ago. So I'll pick it up. And I also have It by Stephen King. Over here. And I have the Mistborn trilogy plus Alloy of Law from the second era. So that's all my books. Yeah.